I quite like Agatha Christie, and I love reading her novels. I've not read as many of them as I'd like to admit to, but Appointment with Death is one that I knew nothing about, and when I saw that Carrie Fisher was in the 1988 film, I thought this is the perfect opportunity to give it a go. I have to say I really enjoyed it. I think I would have enjoyed the narrative more if I were to read it, because I feel like it's more immersive and more one-to-one, and I just find that's generally the case with mysteries. But the actual film itself, as an art form, is beautiful. So this was directed by Michael Winner, with a screenplay by Anthony Shaffer, of course based on the novel by Agatha Christie. And it's got an absolutely brilliant cast. So Peter Ustinov plays Poirot. I'm not familiar with his work, so I didn't really have any idea of what his Poirot would be like. But I'm certainly now keen to explore more. Carrie Fisher plays Nadine, and I love her in this because I've watched a lot of her films recently where she has small parts and she's just making a little cameo, and usually her characters are very, very similar. But in this one, she's a lot more calm and refined and gentle, and I really adore her performance in this. John Gielgud plays Colonel Carberry, and I'd say he did a good performance, but as Gielgud, of course he did. Hayley Mills is in this. The acting across the board is really good. I was really pleased with the performances. I think, well, I'd say everybody was true to the character, but I haven't read the novel. But from what I would have expected from the characters and their actions and behaviours, I feel like the performances were what I would have anticipated. As for the narrative itself, I'll read the description from IMDb, and this is as follows. When a former prison wardress, who dominates the lives of her 3 adult stepchildren and her daughter, is found dead in an archaeological dig near the Dead Sea, there are a great many suspects. So it's a very traditional Poirot mystery, murder mystery, and typically like a Poirot mystery, I'm never that bothered about the victim. I always find that I never really feel emotionally connected to them, and that's never really why I want to find out what happened. I'm just really nosy and curious and like piecing pieces of the puzzle together. And as always, I never get it right. And that's the case here. It's engaging, it's interesting enough. As I said, I think I would have preferred the novel in terms of exploring the narrative, because I feel like you get to know the characters more. There's a greater chance to build a relationship up with each individual character, and I think that makes it easier to form opinions about whether or not you think they could possibly be guilty. Having said that, we do get a good amount of time to build up to the murder itself. I think I wasn't clock watching, but I'd say it's maybe a third of the way through or more before the murder happens. We have a lot of build up, but because of the beauty of the scenery, it's not really a problem. It doesn't really feel slow. They get to visit all kinds of amazing places. We have a montage of them visiting London and loads of other locations until they finally end up at the scene of the murder. And it's beautiful. And that's one of the reasons why I really like this film. The costumes are gorgeous. The scenery is beautiful. The locations are just perfect. And there's always something really beautiful and fascinating to look at. So even at times when the narrative wasn't maybe quite as engaging as it could be, visually, the cinematography was absolutely stunning. So there's always something to kind of keep you engaged and paying full attention. I have no issues about it, or issues with it rather. I loved everybody's performance. Carrie Fisher was obviously great. And I'd like to read the book, not just now because it's too fresh in my head, but at some point I'd like to read the book and see how it compares and see if I have a deeper connection with some of the characters. But I liked it. It's visually an absolutely stunning film. The narrative is interesting. The characters are different enough from one another that it keeps it quite fresh. And I think Appointment with Death is definitely worth watching.